What's going on, everyone? Welcome into this episode of the Chiefs Zone Podcast. My name is Farzin Vasugian. It is a Monday. It is not a victory Monday, but nonetheless, we are getting through our Monday this evening as Week 9 is about to wrap up tonight between the Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals in Jerry's World. But before that game starts, we'll be doing this podcast here. So hopefully you guys are having a good Monday, getting through this Monday after a tough loss yesterday, and a lot of interesting reactions in the last 24 hours with the Kansas City Chiefs. I will say that now. The narrative with the Chiefs, very different going into Sunday's game. And yes, a lot of people nationally picked the Chiefs to win this football game. And, you know, if you're on social media, you certainly see the Bills, their social media account. They've been flexing with this win for sure. And hey, why wouldn't you be? A lot of people doubted you in this game. But there are a lot of different narratives coming out of this game as well. Kind of reminding me of the Jacksonville game. And even in the 0-2 start, yeah, there were a few people who wrote off the Chiefs after the 0-2 start, but there were also a lot of people saying, slow down. We know this team's going to get it together. After the Jacksonville game, a lot of people said that the Chiefs look like the better team. I don't agree with that. I think the better team is the team that wins. The better team in that game. I mean, listen, if a 1-win or a 2-win team beat a 10-win team, I mean, those upsets happen. I think they're the better team just for that game, but overall, no. Maybe that's what some people were talking about with the Chiefs Jaguars. I'm just not a fan of that narrative. It kind of sounds like you're sugarcoating the loss from Kansas City's perspective. And now with this one, we're getting a lot of different reactions here. Obviously, a lot of people mentioned that, oh, well, the Chiefs are going to get them in the playoffs anyway, which they probably will. Hard to kind of look at it that way right now. Some people are choosing to go that way. Some people choosing to be upset about it. A lot of people, listen, I've said this many, many times. The Chiefs will be fine. And a lot of you guys have had some interesting reactions to me telling you that the Chiefs will be okay. We'll get into all of that shortly here on this episode of the Chiefs Zone Podcast. Before we go any further, I want to let you know this podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. That's where I go to for all of my sports ticketing needs. Obviously, the Chiefs are on a bye, but still got a lot of games left in the season. KU, K-State, Mizzou, college football wrapping up real soon, but we will have college bowl games in the near future, and certainly the Missouri Tigers will be taking part in that. College basketball season right around the corner. In fact, I think it's starting this week, if I'm not mistaken. So if you guys want to catch any of the action, all you have to do is go to SeatGeek.com or download the SeatGeek app and pick your tickets. And if you're a new SeatGeek customer, you can use my promo code FARZIN and you will save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets, and at checkout, new customers can enter my promo code FARZIN, save $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. All right. A lot of people are tuning in tonight. I know. Okay, here's a question I've got for you guys. It's been, almost 24 hours since the loss, give or take. How do you feel right now? And I want every single one of you watching to answer this, because I want to know how you're. By the way, let me back up. We're not doing a Red Friday live chat this week. I decided we're not going to do that. We'll scratch that. I'll be honest, I could use a little bit of a break. This has honestly been the busiest football season for me. And we're just at the halfway point. It's going to ease up. Usually all these events and everything that comes with football season take place during the first half of the season. But man, I do need a break. So there will not be a podcast on Wednesday. If there is any trade deadline activity involving the Chiefs, then we'll do a podcast tomorrow. But after that, there will not be a podcast on Wednesday or a Red Friday Q&A live chat. Donnie says the Royals have come down to 3 locations: North KC, downtown KC, or Overland Park. Man, the Royals and the Chiefs just need to pick a spot already. It's honestly ridiculous it's taken this long. You guys know me. I don't really care where they go as long as they're still in the Kansas City area. I know the Kansas City Chamber of Commerce gave a really weird video that they released talking about keeping the teams in the region. I'm not quite sure what message they were trying to send there. I know a lot of you guys care about the state thing, not me. I mean, listen, I think what makes Kansas City unique is, you've got lot of good stuff going on both sides of the state line. I just want them to stay in Kansas City. Do I think some options are better than others? Sure. But the fact that it's taking both teams this long is honestly embarrassing. It's pathetic. I'm not going to sugar. I've been saying this for a couple of months now. There's no reason why they should have asked the state of Kansas to extend that deadline. And I know both states are optimistic that they're going to get the teams, but just pick a place already. Like nothing's going to change over the months. And the fact that not one single person has asked the Chiefs why their price increase went up 33%, that's pathetic. And you can't say inflation because inflation did not go up 33%. But neither here nor there. How do you guys feel since the loss? Bob says, fucking mad. Bob was bringing a lot of energy last night. Bob was apologizing in the chat after his phone call. This is how fired up we are right now. Keon says, hope we can get Bradley Chubb tomorrow. Jason says, I agree with you. The Chiefs will be fine. Dave says, embarrassed on how bad the entire team played. Sarah says, fine. Mary says, I will tell you, I think if they win the next 5 and be optimistic, possibly play. Well, that's easy to say after the fact, but it sounds like you're optimistic they're going to win. Okay. Poor Mahomes just keeps running for his life. 13 pressures does not help. Alonda says, I feel okay. Still can make the playoffs and Super Bowl. Jason says they did play bad, but they're fine. Okay, it feels like there's a mix, maybe a little bit more so on the positive side than the negative side of things. Greg's angry. Donnie says this is not a 53-man Super Bowl roster, period. Listen, there are no right or wrong answers here. You guys are all entitled to your opinions. Sherry says the Chiefs will be all right. Macshan says, I think we need Breece Hall from the Jets and Chubb. Okay, 2 people campaigning for Bradley Chubb. All right. Listen. I said this last night before I went to bed. I said this on Twitter. I didn't say this on Facebook. Sometimes, like the Chiefs before yesterday won 5 of their last 6. A lot of people were high on the Chiefs, me included. During the 0-2 start, local sports talk radio, and I'll be honest, I have not listened to a lot of sports talk radio today, and I'll check some of them out because a lot of them archive their content. But during the 0-2 start, a lot of people in Kansas City were talking about Andy Reid. Is the game past him? Should he hand off play calling duties? Is Andy Heck the issue? Is Connor Embry the issue? Matt Nagy, bring back Eric Bieniemy. Listen, I've always been a big fan of Eric Bieniemy, so I'll gladly take him over Matt Nagy, not just because of last night. I'm just saying overall, general as an offensive coordinator. But then when the Chiefs started winning, they beat the Giants. Then they beat they destroyed the Ravens. And they won 5 of 6 games. They lost to the Jags in a close one, but they beat the Lions. They demolished the Raiders. Slow start against the Commanders, but they blew them out in the second half of that game. I mean, the Chiefs, nobody was talking about Andy Reid moving on and whether or not the game is past him. No one was saying nobody was talking about Matt Nagy for a month before yesterday's game. But then, one loss comes creeping back in and everyone's hitting the panic button. Is Andy Reid, should he still be coaching? Matt Nagy, he's all of a sudden the issue. I think a lot of us, and listen, I'm guilty of this too sometimes. Although I'd like to think as a fan, I've gotten better about this over the years. I think a lot of people are way too reactionary in an emotional manner. And I get it. Listen, we are invested in sports. This is the best era of Chiefs football, and we know that this isn't going to last forever, a lot like the Patriots dynasty. And other dynasties that we've seen in the NFL and in all of sports. We know these things don't last forever, so we always want to maximize everything that this team can give us. Sure, I get all of that. Brandon senses a 10 spicy margarita challenge. We're not doing that anymore. Once was enough. I'm actually going to be in Cancun later this month, but I was actually thinking about that the other day. Funny enough. But regardless, everyone just calm down. Let's chillax. As long as the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, they will be okay. Because whenever I put out there last night that the Chiefs will be fine, some of you guys agreed with me. Some of you guys did not like my optimism. Somebody on Twitter called it toxic positivity. I didn't know there was such thing as toxic positivity. I guess I'd rather be toxic in a positive way than a negative way. I still don't know what that means, but I was accused of it today. Here's my deal on this. I want to phrase it correctly, because I've told you guys many times, I'm not a fan of historical patterns when people say, oh, well, this team has, like, for example, the Chiefs and the Colts. The Chiefs always have horrible luck against the Colts, and therefore the Chiefs will lose to the Colts in the regular. It's like, well, every year is a different year. I guess another good example would be the Chiefs-Bills. Every time they play in the regular season, the Bills win. Every time they play in the playoffs, the Chiefs win. In the Mahomes-Allen era, that is. But here's one thing I will say, because I did say this, and I got some pushback that we can't keep relying on what's happened in the past. And I disagree to an extent. With this core unit that you have, with Andy Reid guiding the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes as your leader, Travis Kelce, I do feel like is playing better this year than last year. I will say Chris Jones, I think, has been a disappointment since his contract. I think we've got to be honest about that. Would I like Chris Jones to be on the team? Yes. For that contract? Absolutely not. But here's what I'm going to say. Because, no, I agree with you, Moe. They need defensive linemen. I said that the other day. But here's my thing. In 2021, the Chiefs had a 3-4 start. They were written off. Now, the season did not end well. It was a really bad second half against the Bengals and an overtime in the AFC Championship game, but they still were an overtime away from the Super Bowl. And then, 4 months after that, what happened? Or less than that, 2 months after that, what happened? Tyreek Hill got traded, and people wrote off the Chiefs in March. They won the Super Bowl. The following year, the drops. You could argue that might have been the worst offensive performance from the Chiefs in the Mahomes era. And what happened? They figured it out, and they won the Super Bowl. Last year, the Chiefs winning by a toe and then a late pass interference call and a doink that barely goes in to win the division. What else happened that was crazy? A miraculous fumble from the Raiders player. Half the team was not paying attention at the snap. A coin toss that went Kansas City's way for overtime. I mean, all kinds of different things where people felt like the Chiefs' luck would run out. Now, no, the season at all did not end well, but it still ended in a Super Bowl appearance. And I know, here's what a lot of people have told me, and I see a couple of the comments here on Facebook, Instagram, Utah. I see them. A lot of you guys are telling me that, oh, but Farzine, that was in the past. This is different. Here's the interesting thing. I was told the same thing. I was told, no, this is the year where it's going to be different, and the Chiefs are not going to reach the Super Bowl or the Final Four. I've heard that every single year. Why is this year different? Because the division's better? The division was great last year. 3 teams from the AFC West made it to the playoffs. I remember in 2022, the entire AFC West got better. Broncos got Russell Wilson. The Chargers got a couple of great players on defense. The Raiders got Devontae Adams, which was the domino effect in chasing Tyreek Hill out of the division. And the Chiefs went 6-0 in the division. So here's my point. Every year is a different year. I agree. But have the Chiefs not earned the benefit of the doubt at this point? And here's what a lot of people love to have a discussion about. If the season ended today, I love this phrase. I love hypotheticals, man. If you can't tell with the sarcasm coming out of my voice, if the season ended today, the Chiefs missed the playoffs. Well, damn, man, I must have missed that the season ends on November the 3rd. When was the last time an NFL season ever ended on November the 3rd? Can anyone tell me? Listen, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Maybe one of you guys are. Maybe you guys can inform me. When was the last time an NFL season ended on November the 3rd? Because I haven't seen that. And the 17-game schedule format. It's funny because when the Chiefs were in the playoff picture the week before, no one was talking about, well, if the season ended today, the Chiefs would finally get it. And no one had wanted that discussion. People only want to have that discussion when the Chiefs are out of the playoff picture. So as far as I'm concerned, the Chiefs started 0-2, and they were written off by a lot of people, including by some in Kansas City. They're now at the 8th position. Now, does the 8th position get you a playoff spot? No. But does the 8th position eliminate you from playoff contention on November the 3rd? It absolutely does not. So let's slow it down a little bit here. And listen, the Chiefs lost 4 games. The fact that the Raiders almost beat the Jaguars on a 2-point attempt in overtime kind of makes you question how the Chiefs even lost that game to the Jaguars, but you can't change what's happened in the past. You lost to the Chargers, you lost to the Eagles, the Jags, and now the Giants. I'm sorry, not the Giants, the Bills. You can't change that. That's over with. But you're right now in the 8th position for the AFC playoff picture. That's a much better position than where the Chiefs were in week 3. Do we not agree on that? The Chiefs are in a better spot right now. I think a lot of people need to relax. And listen, you're all entitled to your own opinions. I'm not here to tell you how you should think or how you should feel. But I am going to tell you that you should relax a little bit. No, last night's game was not okay. Yeah, it's okay to be frustrated with how that game went. And certainly it's reasonable to want Brett Veach to do something before the trade deadline. Yeah, everyone wants it. But at the end of the day, they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's my question to you guys. Have they not earned your trust by this point? Remember, 2021, they were written off. March of 2022, we're talking before the draft, the Chiefs were written off. During the 23 season, they were written off. That was the year the Chiefs were supposed to be one and done. I'm just reminding you guys. That wasn't from me. That was from a bunch of people out there. 2024, the Chiefs' luck was going to run out. Okay, it didn't end with them getting the three-peat, but they were still in the Super Bowl. So the Chiefs have overcome all of these obstacles before. And I know the defense, they're not playing as well as they should this season. But have they not earned your trust by this point? Hey, and listen, I'll cut the defense a little bit of slack here because they played way better in the second half. I feel like the Chiefs' offense did not return the favor. They had plenty of opportunities in the second half, and they started the game with a 3-and-out. Let me back up because the Chiefs got the ball second to start the game. On their opening possession, they started with a 3-and-out. Keep in mind, that's part of the first 15 plays that are scripted. And then in the second half, which Andy Reid loves to defer so he can start second, they went 3-and-out in that one. I think the offensive decision-making, especially with the play calling, it's very suspect. Remember when Hollywood Brown got that big catch to bring the Chiefs inside the 5? I think specifically at the 1.5. They ran a play with Kareem Hunt, and they had trips left. I mean, listen, if you're at the goal line, and Buffalo, because you have to call a timeout, Buffalo. Well, I can't. Oh yeah. I think the Chiefs did have to call a timeout. I know they were trying to review it to see if Hollywood got into the end zone or not, and they determined he didn't. But that gave Buffalo a chance to bring in some of those big guys, some muscle up front for the defensive line, because they were in a dime package on the play when Patrick Mahomes hit Hollywood Brown deep. So, what business do you have having trips left and handing the ball to Kareem Hunt? Of course, he's going to get stuffed. As great as Kareem Hunt is in short yardage situations, you've got to give him some help. And the Chiefs did not do Kareem Hunt any favors at the one. And I think that was the ultimate difference maker in last night's game. Kareem Hunt could have used a little bit more help last night. By the way, I see some comments about the Chiefs and how their lack of commitment to running the ball. Rex Ryan criticized Andy Reid about it. Rex Ryan said on Get Up today on ESPN that he picked the Chiefs to lose this game. Even though he said specifically, Buffalo's defense cannot stop a nosebleed, which is a pretty big insult. Basically, you're saying that defense sucks. And Rex Ryan said the Chiefs don't run the ball. And that's why he went with the Bills, because he knew that they're a great pass defense because of the edge rushers, despite not having Ed Oliver or Shaq Thompson. And he figured that they're going to go pass heavy and abandon the run. And because the Chiefs played from behind for a majority of this game, at sometimes down by 2 scores, they had to abandon the run game. And Kareem Hunt was doing just fine. Kareem Hunt, before being stuffed at the 1 yard line before halftime, Kareem Hunt was averaging 6.8 yards per carry. How do you not give the guy more touches? Look, listen, you guys have asked me this many times in the past. Why are the Chiefs not running the ball? It's just not Andy Reid's MO. We saw it last year a lot because a bunch of guys were injured. Rashee Rice was out. Hollywood Brown was out. Pacheco was out. So they committed to Kareem Hunt, who literally was off the couch in week 3. That's when they got him. Now, listen, and by the way, yeah, Rex Ryan he failed as a head coach, but he's not wrong. Listen, a lot of these guys on ESPN, a lot of former coaches and players who are analysts, a lot of them did not do a good job. That's why they're now analysts. Very few of them, like a Tom Brady, is able to step away and go into transition into broadcasting full-time right away. But you don't see a lot of those guys in that position. But regardless of how good or how bad Rex Ryan was, that doesn't nullify the fact that there's some breaking news involving Titans defensive tackle Drummond Jones to the Ravens, not to the Chiefs. It doesn't change the fact that they're right. Like, we have to drop this whole... I know Tim Grunhard gets a lot of shit, and he has pushed back aggressively. Tim Grunhard never won a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean Tim Grunhard cannot criticize and talk about the Chiefs when it's time. People love Tim Grunhard when he's saying good things, but whenever he gets criticized, people don't like it. Rick says Clyde, in capital letters, Clyde never got a chance to run the ball last night. Well, he did. But that first carry that Clyde Edwards-Helaire got, I saw a bunch of people criticizing him. Did you not see Juwan Taylor block on that play? Like, Juwan Taylor just basically told the defender, I think it was Epinesa or Bosa, I can't remember who it was. He basically just said, here, go, destroy my running back for a 3-yard loss. How are you going to blame Clyde Edwards-Helaire for that? Come on. Like, there's no rational thinking that defends that. That just doesn't make sense. So, listen, I'm not here to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire needs an opportunity to be the new number 1 running back. No, listen, he got his opportunity. He failed at it. He's a practice squad running back. He was just up by standard elevation for 1 game because Pacheco was hurt. I told you guys, I thought it should have been Carson Steele or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did actually get a run of 7 yards at one point last night. The Chiefs, again, just decided to abandon the run game. Look, I know there are all kinds of reactions to last night's loss. And listen, last night's game was not okay. The offensive line did not do Patrick Mahomes any favors. Here's where I have a big issue. And this is my big criticism of the Chiefs. And this specifically goes to the coaching staff because they're the ones who call the plays and they're telling the players what to do here. Cole Bishop of the Bills, and we talked about him a little bit last week. I mentioned when we were talking about the secondary, I mentioned that Cole Bishop is a solid safety. Go back and listen to the podcast. When talking about that secondary for the Bills, I mentioned that Cole Bishop is really one of the very few players even worth a damn on that secondary. There's a reason why they're second, and it's because of the edge rushers, not the secondary. You know what Cole Bishop did? And by the way, I'm really shocked that the Bills revealed this because they know they're going to see the Chiefs again. The odds of that are very high. But Cole Bishop was talking about how there was that one play where the Chiefs had a guy go in motion and they had a quick pass in the flat to Xavier Worthy, and he picked up on that real fast. In fact, he pointed out a couple of plays that were called. And listen, I'm actually glad from a Chiefs perspective. I'm glad Cole Bishop pointed that out publicly because someone had to do it. It's not going to be anyone in the Kansas City media. It's not going to be anyone on the Chiefs. It took an opposing player, Cole Bishop, a safety for the Bills, to come out and say, hey, I've seen them run this on film. I studied it, and I was all over that play, and I didn't let them get through. So hopefully Andy Reid, that was a big wake-up call where he says to himself, holy shit, I might be way too predictable. This offense has way too much talent to be predictable. Way too much talent. You cannot have Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, who the Chiefs barely even use anymore, and Juju Smith-Schuster. You cannot have those five wide receivers and be predictable. And I know the Chiefs are capable of doing things because in the AFC Championship game last year, what did we see? On 4th and goal, we saw a running back set that included Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. We had never seen Pacheco and Hunt on the field at the same time in a game last year until 4th and goal in the AFC title game. Patrick Mahomes does a fake handoff, and he just takes off and runs. And the Buffalo Bills bid on that. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody after the game spoke to the media from the Bills defense, and they said that design run on Patrick Mahomes, we did not see that coming because Patrick Mahomes did not have any design runs all season last year. So listen, you can throw defenses off by doing things that you haven't done all season. And I know Andy Reid, who's been coaching a very long time, he's got a lot of plays in that playbook. There's a lot of creativity in there. And I see a lot of people on social media telling me that the Chiefs are holding back Tyquan Thornton for bigger games. Well, there was a big game yesterday, and they barely used him. The only time they ever threw him the ball was on the second to last play of the game, one of the two Hail Marys attempted by Patrick Mahomes. And he almost caught it. There was a Bills defender right there all over it, unfortunately. But they're barely using Tyquan Thornton, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I know the Chiefs are creative and can do all kinds of crazy things to throw off a defense. The Buffalo Bills admitted that last year after the AFC Championship game. So listen, I'd like to think an NFL coaching staff does not, quote unquote, hold back, and they wait for bigger moments like in January to put out a big part of their playbook. Listen, man, I know they're digital now with tablets and whatnot. Excuse me. There's no way you can run through your whole playbook unless you're running a snap every 10 seconds in a football game, which is virtually impossible, okay? So don't give me this crap about, oh, the Chiefs just don't want to reveal too much or put too much on film. Well, I think you should have done it yesterday because this does put you behind the 8 ball a little bit. They're not terribly behind. And if you can get a little bit of help, which is honestly embarrassing that the Chiefs have to be in this position, but if they can get some miracle from the Raiders, which is not going to happen, but you can't dismiss it completely because let's be honest, I'm the boneheaded guy who was undefeated for his lock of the week. And guess what happened? The lock of the week is no longer undefeated because the Detroit Lions beat the Minnesota Vikings. Funny enough, my upset of the week finally came true for once. It was Pittsburgh beating the Colts. But anyway, my point is the Chiefs are now in a position where they have to rely on other teams. Now, look, I know a lot of fans think that the Chiefs hold back. I have a question for you guys. Because again, listen, what do I know? I'm just a podcaster. You guys are fans. We're all really the same. We're all fans at the end of the day. But my question to you guys, do you truly believe Andy Reid holds back? I'm not talking about running up the score like against the Raiders when they were QB kneeling before the 2-minute war. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking putting their best work on the field. Because I think the idea from a lot of people is that if you put out your best stuff last night in a week 9 regular season game, then teams are going to figure you out. Guys, it's impossible to go through a whole playbook in one game. Andy Reid's got a lot in that playbook. He's been coaching for a very long time. And listen, it doesn't matter how long you've been coaching, but it does help that you're a 10-year veteran like Andy Reid. I mean, there are a lot of plays in that playbook that can make you creative and throw off defenses and do things that they've never seen on film. Paul says, I agree. Andy needs to be held accountable for play calling. Like us not having a legit run game is ridiculous. Jason says letting Bieniemy go was a mistake. The Chiefs didn't let Bieniemy go. Bieniemy had to. I've gone over this many times. Bieniemy had to leave because nobody was giving him a head coaching offer. The reason they weren't giving him a head coaching offer is because they felt like he was benefiting from being surrounded by Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. They felt like he was benefiting from that. So he had to leave and go prove himself. Unfortunately, he had 2 shit situations. One was Sam Howell as his freaking quarterback. I don't know who you guys think is the best offensive coordinator in NFL history. No NFL offensive coordinator can win with Sam Howell as their quarterback. And then, he went to UCLA. Can anyone tell me what good players UCLA had that year when Bieniemy was the OC? Like, come on. Alonda says Andy is sneaky. I feel like he knows what he's doing. Well, he better bring that sneakiness now. Because I don't think this is a time to be holding back. You're about to play the best defense in the NFL. I say about to, but they're on a bye week. You guys know what I mean. The next game. And unfortunately, the Chiefs do find themselves in a spot where they have to rely on other teams to win. They were hoping for the Raiders to pull off a win last night, which they almost did. And now you're having to root for the Raiders again because they're playing the Broncos. Does that not make you sick to your stomach? For the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, you have to root for the Raiders, not once, but 2 weeks in a row. I am disgusted that I even have to say that. But that's the position the Chiefs are in, and they have no one to blame but themselves. Since Eric left, they're letting Pat pick some plays, and Pat thinks they won't see this coming, but in reality, they practice defending those plays all the way. Yes, I agree. Listen, I remember when Todd Haley was the head coach of the Chiefs. The Chiefs ran a QB sneak on 4th and inches, and it worked. And then a week later, what happens? On 4th and goal, same exact scenario. What do? They run a quarterback sneak. And I think it was the Chargers who were all over it, and they stuffed Matt Castle for a loss. Why did they do that? Because they studied you. They saw what you did last week, and they found a way to stop it. They were anticipating it. They knew as soon as the referees said that it's short on 3rd down and 4th down's coming up, they knew you were not going to bring out Dustin Colquitt. They knew you were going to attempt it. And unfortunately, the Chiefs made it obvious in that moment. Listen, this is not me saying let's move on from Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a bad coach. No, not at all. I said this last night, and I've said this many, many times. Andy Reid probably is the most creative head coach in NFL history. And listen, we don't know when Andy Reid's going to step away from the game of football as a coach. If he had gotten Patrick Mahomes 5 years sooner, he could have probably tied Bill Belichick for Super Bowl rings by now. I don't know. We can't go over that hypothetical scenario. What's done is done. But what I do know is that ever since Andy finally got his ideal quarterback, we've seen all kinds of creativity. I mean, the Chiefs have found all these creative ways to use Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson, McCole Hardman. And now you're seeing Rashee Rice taking a direct snap and running it to the end zone. We're seeing all kinds of things. We've seen Travis Kelce do the exact same thing. We've seen Travis Kelce throw touchdown passes. Like, we know the Chiefs have this playbook where the arsenal is full of creativity. Look, there are some fans out there who believe Andy Reid holds back. He's holding back Tyquan Thornton for a big moment that defenses won't see coming. I don't think this is the time to be holding back. You're 5-4. You're in the 8th position. Now, this is not a panic button position. It's November the 3rd. The season's not over. But you got to start going now because you cannot afford a loss against Denver. Listen, I still think the division is attainable. I'm telling you right now on November the 3rd, I'm still picking the Chiefs to win the AFC West. But if you lose to Denver, I will admit that I can. That is a lost bet right there. I'll tell you that right now. Unfortunately, I picked the Chiefs in my re-prediction about 2 weeks ago. I picked them to lose to Denver. I picked them to beat Buffalo for whatever that's worth to you. But that Denver game now becomes 10 times more important to win because you're what, 2.5 games behind in the division? Well, technically 2 because Denver has not had a bye yet. When is Denver's bye week? I don't think they have it until way late. They have it after Kansas City. Okay, so there you go. Obviously, the Chiefs aren't a bye right now, and the Chiefs are 2 games behind the Broncos. The Broncos are winning this week, so it's going to be 2.5 games. You've got to beat them twice now. Otherwise, you're not winning the AFC West. I think that's fair to say. Because I think there was a thought that the Chiefs could have taken first place by Thanksgiving. I don't think that's happening right now. Yeah, we've seen offensive linemen where we've seen Eric Fisher score. Wait, did Eric Fisher? Yeah, Eric Fisher's caught a touchdown pass before. Did Allegretti? Listen, remember the ring around the rosy? What was that called? The snow globe. We've seen that. Demetrio says, what happened to the short passing game? Buffalo shut it down. And when you can shut that down, you basically take away a big part of where Rashee Rice excels. And listen, I don't think Rashee Rice had a terrible game. It's just that just wasn't there for him in that game. And credit to Buffalo because they took that away. But that's my thing. If you take away that from Rashee Rice, there's no reason why Xavier Worthy can't get open. Hollywood Brown, Tyquan Thornton. I think the problem is the Chiefs. And look, I don't know what the Chiefs playbook is specifically, but I think the Chiefs, I think some of their plays heavily rely on one specific player to catch a pass. That's just my observation. Rob says, got to stop getting in 3rd and long situations. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Thornton's got to play much more. He only played 14 snaps last night. I don't... Listen, I get it. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are back. But you can't just let a talented player like Tyquan Thornton just live on the sidelines now. Do I think they'll make a trade before the trade deadline? It'll be very hard, man. They don't have a lot of room on the salary cap. I would like to see Rice and Royals on the field at the same time. Yeah, we haven't seen much of Jalen Royals. I don't really pay attention to Jalen Royals. How many snaps did he get last night? Jalen Royals. It's not saying anything on Pro Football Reference. Maybe they have not put that information in there. Let me check. I did see this on Twitter. Bear with me. I saw someone put out the snap count. Jalen Royals. How many snaps did he have last night? Jalen Royals did not play a snap last night, unless I'm missing it. No, Royals did not play last night. He put on a uniform. Was he on special teams at any point? No, he wasn't. Yeah, Jalen Royals put on a uniform and was on the sidelines the entire game. Now, listen, I'm not losing sleep over that because I still think your main five guys are the five guys I mentioned. The trio, Juju and Taekwon. It does become a little hard to mix in Jalen Royals and Nico Remigio. I mean, it's just not easy. Yeah, the Dontari Poe touchdown pass. That's another good one. We've seen Dontari Poe get involved in a lot of creative ways with this offense. And this was before Patrick Mahomes, mind you. Derek says they need to go under center more. Yeah, this is something a lot of people have been talking about. It's kind of surprised me that the Chiefs have not done a lot of that. We've seen them line up in the pistol and shotgun formations the most. Again, I don't know if the Chiefs are holding back for things just so they can surprise teams in November. I mean, if there was ever time to pull out all the stops, should have been last night. And again, it's impossible to virtually run off a play. You're basically run a play from your entire playbook, unless you've got a very small playbook. But I don't know, man. Just seems weird to me with this much talent. Because I'll say this, and I'll die on this hill. I think this wide receiver room is way better than the 2018 wide receiver room. And keep in mind, 2018 and 2019, you had Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson, McCole Hardman in 2019, not 2018. I would argue this group of wide receivers is better than what you had back then. Now, in terms of if we're like ranking all of those receivers, Tyreek Hill is a clear-cut number one, no question about it. But overall group of guys, this is a much more reliable group. And I think they got really lucky that New England gave up on Tyquan Thornton and he fell to Kansas City's lap in the waiver wire. So if you're the Chiefs, figure it out. John says, if your trio isn't working, try changing it up some. I think the trio is working. It wasn't great last night, and I think bad pass protection was a part of that. But my thing is, you're right. If it's not working, there's no reason why Taekwon should not get involved more. Even on 14 snaps, I still think you can do some things with Tyquan Thornton, and we're not seeing much of that. That's the thing that I'm frustrated with the most with this offense, and that's specifically geared towards the coaches. Why is it that Tyquan Thornton is now completely forgotten about? Because I thought Rashee Rice returning was just supposed to add to Patrick Mahomes' arsenal. Instead, it's a complete replacement, it feels like. And I don't think it should be that way. Because what Rashee Rice can do and what Tyquan Thornton can do, two completely different players in terms of skill set at the wide receiver position, which is fine. That's even better. And that's why I was so excited about Rice's return, because I thought that was going to help the creativity of the offense. Instead, we've seen the opposite. Slow start in the Commanders game, though it got better in the second half. And in the Bills game, it just felt like it took a while for things to really get going. And I think Mahomes got lucky on that 4th and 17. I know everyone thinks that, who was it? Nick Bosa. Everyone thinks Nick Bosa was reading a script where he wasn't supposed to chase Mahomes on 4th and 17. Listen, I honestly do believe, because Mahomes made it look like he was going to roll out to the right. And I think Nick Bosa was trying to cut in a different direction to chase down Patrick Mahomes. And he just took the wrong cut. Mahomes stayed in the pocket and he found Rice deep. So I know this Chiefs team, they had a couple of big plays at Hollywood. They can rip apart a defense. Let's see what happens. And we'll talk more about Josh Simmons in a moment because him coming back, he was definitely missed last night. But moving forward, you are really going to need Josh Simmons. Take a quick time out from the show to let you know I have partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook for an offer you don't want to miss out on. I have teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to give new customers an opportunity to receive bonus bets plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. New customers can bet $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass on us, plus unlock $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All you have to do is sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook today using my promo code FARZINE. Then just place a $5 bet, and if your bet wins, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets. Plus 3 months of NBA League Pass on us, no matter what. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on my personal favorite, DraftKings Same Game Parlays, for a shot at an even bigger payout. And if you love the thrill of live betting, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered. You can bet live on star player props and in-progress games right as they happen. And you can do all of this right from your phone. Once again, new DraftKings customers can sign up using my promo code FARZINE and place a $5 bet and earn $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Plus, 3 months of NBA League Pass on us, no matter what. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Oh, Joey, did I say Nick Bosa? Apologies. I obviously meant Joey Bosa, but the point still stands. K Famous on IG is asking, what do I think the Chiefs finishing record will be now? Let's see. Would not surprise me if it's 11-6. I would not be too surprised if it's 11-6. And that's what it was for Super Bowl 58. Yeah, Teresa just even mentioned, yeah, it was 11-6 that year. Yeah, I would not be surprised. I hate to say it because I do think that the Denver game is going to be a loss. I think the Chiefs are going to be a wild card team this year. Well, I don't know, man. I'm going back and forth because I know I said earlier the division. Now I'm thinking wild card. I don't know. The Denver game it's going to be flustered, man. That's a game they have to win. And here's the importance with that. They've got the best defense in the NFL. In my opinion, I think the Broncos have the best defense in the league. Even without Patrick Surtain right now, they're doing real well. One says Denver and LA needs to start losing. Yeah, unfortunately, the Chiefs find themselves in a spot where they need not one, but 2 division rivals to lose. And that's not a position you ever want to be in. Thomas says they're beating the Broncos by double digits. I hope so, because Denver's offense is wildly inconsistent, but they can light things up in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter against the Eagles, they look like they were dead in the water, and they were reborn. They came alive, and they stole that game from the Eagles. And then against who? The Giants, they scored 33 points all in the fourth quarter. I mean, Brian Dable should have been fired after that. And then last night, or not last night, but yesterday afternoon, it wasn't a game, a fourth quarter where the Broncos lit it up, but they started to get rolling a little bit, and they scored enough to win that game. And I know the Texans had a backup QB in there and all, but their defense has kept them in games. They really have. So, the Chiefs defense, they've got to find a way to make sure Bo Nix does not all of a sudden look like the greatest quarterback on planet Earth, because they have been able to make some quarterbacks look that way. Now, the good part is, because of how great Denver's defense is with Benito, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, they've got a lot of great players on that defensive front. You're getting back Josh Simmons. That was the big news today for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it definitely was talked about in the NFL as well. Josh Simmons is now back with the Kansas City Chiefs. Could not have come at a better time because Denver, and listen, I know Denver has yet to go through their bye week, and they've played one more game than everyone else, but they've got 40 sacks on the season. They're averaging 4.5 sacks, almost 4.5 sacks a game. That is pretty damn scary. Listen, I've been saying this all year long. I'm scared of Denver's defense. And I thought Bo Nix was going to take a big step forward this year. And we've seen a lot of quarterbacks who have good rookie seasons. Guys like CJ Stroud, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels just suffered a devastating injury last night in a game he had no business playing a part of late in the game. And Dan Quinn even admitted to that today. But man, that's not the first time a head coach in Washington has ruined the career of a really good young quarterback. But hopefully Daniels will be okay. But the Chiefs, they're going to be playing a quarterback in Bo Nix who hasn't necessarily taken that big step forward in his second year. The Broncos offense has stalled a lot this year. But you can't ever count them out because you know they can rally and do a bunch of things in a short amount of time. They've done it a couple of times this year. So offensively, I have my concerns going up against the Broncos defense. Josh Simmons coming back is huge. Kingsley Suamataia thankfully was able to finish the game. He only missed one snap. The right tackle situation does become interesting. I know Trey Smith was dealing with a bad back coming back from his injury because I think he was limited in practice all week. But Trey Smith, he gave up 4 pressures in this one. Is that in relation to his back injury? I have no idea. Hopefully the bye week is going to give him the time he needs to make a full recovery because you need your Pro Bowl guard in his Pro Bowl form. Now, with the right tackle position, Jawan Taylor, who had been playing better lately, probably had his worst game of the season since the 0-2 start. And you're kind of back to square one with him. What do you do with Jawan Taylor moving forward? And if he's injured and is going to miss some games, I think the obvious decision is shifting Jalen Moore from left tackle to right tackle, especially with Josh Simmons back. Makes perfect sense. So that Denver game does get very interesting. Listen, I've gone back and forth on this, and you guys know me. And obviously, I don't have to give you guys a prediction right now. That'll be next Wednesday. But good God, man. Kansas City's got to play better. And listen, if you're playing a bad run defense, don't be afraid to commit to the run. I think Kansas City's capable of doing that. I do. Is this a winnable game on the road against Denver? Absolutely it is. But if the Chiefs offensive line plays anything like they did last night against Denver, this might be a low scoring loss for the Chiefs. And that's not what you want. So Kansas City's got to play much better in terms of, I'll say this right now. If the pass protection is there against Denver, Kansas City's winning that game. Let me just ask you guys, and I don't need a score prediction. Just tell me a win or a loss. Do you think the Chiefs win that game against Denver in 13 days, or will they lose that game? Because I don't know. A couple weeks ago, before the season, I think I called that game a loss. And a couple of weeks ago, when I repicked the last 10 games, I got the Commanders game right, got the Bills one wrong. The Broncos game I said was going to be their only loss of the final 10 games. Oh boy. Got some mixed comments here. Listen, I try to pay attention to the chat as much as I can. Rick, why are you always in all caps? It's Rick and somebody else. Like the same two guys who are in all caps. Am I again, I apologize. I'm trying to do the podcast, but I feel like there are two people who are in all caps all night long. Rick, I think you're one of them. Okay, so a lot of you, it feels like a lot of people are saying the Chiefs are going to win. It's close, but I think most of you guys are going with a win here. I love the optimism, Jason. Jason says still make the playoffs and potentially go to the Super Bowl. Marianne says the Knicks will look like Brady. They're mad at me. What the hell did I do? I mean, come on, man. No, it's all good. It's all good. But okay, a lot of you guys are feeling optimistic. Some of you guys not so much, and that's okay. Listen, you got to have a reason to feel optimistic, and the Chiefs at the moment aren't giving you a lot of reasons. Here's my only thing, because I feel like some people get too reactionary with these things. Because when the Chiefs are winning, no one's talking about Andy Reid if the game has passed him or not. No one's criticizing Matt Nagy. No one's going there. Boy, listen. I'm going back and forth with the game. I have no idea what's going to happen. And listen, I'm not waiting on Thursday Night Football to make my decision. I know that the Broncos are going to beat the Raiders. Like, the Raiders are not going to beat the Broncos. That's not happening. And if that does, I don't know. I guess I'll do a spicy margarita challenge. Brad says I'm betting Farzine's hair growing back on Denver. Well, there you go. That's a good thing to bet on. You're not going to lose much. Hey, see what I did there? Hate the Bill song. I'm not going to lie. That Bill song is actually very catchy. I can't hate on that. I really cannot hate on that. I would love to be in attendance for the Skull Chant just once in my life. That looks awesome. That really looks awesome. I'd love to be there for one of those Skull Chants. Okay, I mean, listen, I'm just curious. I'm just trying to get the temperature from Chiefs Kingdom, seeing how you guys feel. But yeah, Josh Simmons is back, and I think that gives some people optimism, and I think that gives some people a reason to feel good moving forward. Because here's the thing with Kansas City's schedule coming up. I mentioned Denver already. I know the Colts, who the Chiefs play after the Broncos, they're coming off a loss, but they still have the best record. They're now tied for the best record, but they're still one of the high-powered scoring teams in the league. I mean, they still have the best point differential in the league. Then they have Dallas. I know Dallas has been a weird team, not good on defense, but very good on offense. The Texans have been an inconsistent team. Then they play the Chargers, who got your number. And by the way, the big breaking news of the day in the NFL Wire, the Chargers have lost Joe Alt for the season and will undergo season-ending ankle injury. The offensive line has really had bad luck this year, which is unfortunate. Slater got injured before the season. Joe Alt injured a couple of times this year, missed a bunch of games, didn't get to play much, and the Chargers might fall out of it because of the offensive line injuries. If you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to have a lot of chances. The Tennessee game and the Raiders game, those are two very winnable games. Then you play Denver on Christmas. So, listen, I think the Houston, Chargers, Raiders, and Titans games, those four games, you have to absolutely win. I think that's 4 games in the bank right there. You cannot lose any of those games. The Texans are just too inconsistent, especially on offense. The Chargers don't have an offensive line. The Titans are bad. The Raiders are bad. So the other 4 games remaining, both Broncos games, the Dallas game and the Colts game. If you split that, you're 11-6. I think Kansas City can go 11-6. 12-5 would be preferred, but I think they can do 11-6. The Colts don't necessarily scare me. Listen, I think the Colts deserve credit for what they've done this year. I know a lot of people love to not give that team credit because they've played bad teams. Listen, we knew the schedule before the season. We knew who their quarterback was going to be. But none of us saw this coming with the Colts. So I think a lot of people should give the Colts their credit here. I do think Spags will do some things to throw off Daniel Jones and that offense. And if the Chiefs can get off to a good lead in that game, then they'll have to abandon Jonathan Taylor. And then you'll really have to rely on Daniel Jones. And I don't think that's a position the Colts want to find themselves in. Max Shen, that's very interesting that you did that. Do I think the Cowboys win tonight? Yeah, it's not going to be close. Listen, I like the Cardinals. I pull for players who get doubted a lot, and Kyler Murray had a lot of doubters coming out of college. And he's shown flashes, but man, he ain't the guy. And the Cardinals have to start over and figure out what they're going to do with that organization moving forward, because they've got talent, but just not an offensive line, not a quarterback. I mean, they've got a lot of things. Dallas is winning in a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a contest. I'm more interested in Monday Night Raw tonight than I am Monday Night Football. The real question, will Troy Aikman or Joe Buck be drunk tonight? Probably Troy Aikman. Honestly, I would not blame him considering how bad of a game this will be tonight. I'm not a Sooner fan, even though I live in Oklahoma. Yeah. Another Sooner that I pull for because of the amount of doubt he got coming out of college was Baker Mayfield. Listen, there are very few pro athletes who I feel bad for. Baker Mayfield did not deserve that treatment in Cleveland. And I think Cleveland is honestly getting what they deserve, considering they've gone through a quarterback carousel since getting rid of Baker Mayfield. Look where Baker is now. I mean, that guy has himself a home in Tampa. What year was it? 2022? Baker Mayfield was living like a nomad life, going from the Browns and then the Panthers and then the Rams. I think there's another team I'm forgetting in there. But dude, that guy just could not find himself a home. And he beat the Raiders on 2 days notice, which was insane. And now he's in Tampa. Good for him. So I'm happy to see where he is. Look at Flacco. Yeah, there you go. Listen, Flacco took them to the playoffs coming off the couch a couple of years ago. By the way, how insane is it in Cincinnati? You guys know me. I love to fire shots at the Bengals. I actually feel bad for the Bengals, specifically their offense. That offense does not deserve what they're going through right now. Joe Flacco, listen, give Joe Flacco credit. This guy has been on the team for less than a month, I think. And he's actually played really damn well. He's playing with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and the rest of that offense like he had been there for 5 years. Like they had played together for a very long time. That offense has been lighting it up. And they're not winning. Why is Rodgers so bitchy these days? I saw he made a comment saying that this is Roethlisberger's team, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I don't know. I haven't. I didn't really follow up on that. The paper tigers. What does that mean, Brad? I don't know what that means. What do the Raiders need to do to win against the Broncos? On Thursday night, pray to the football gods. Whoever it is, you pray to that guy. That's what it's going to take for the Raiders to win that game, because they are not going to beat the dude. Just drop it. They're not beating the Broncos. That's not happening. I want it to happen as bad as you guys do, but that's not happening. Oh, okay. Gotcha, Brad. Wasn't quite sure what you were talking about. Anyway, I think we're getting way out of bounds on a lot of stuff here tonight, so I think we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I know last night I said there'd be a podcast on Wednesday and a Red Friday Q&A live chat. I'm going to go ahead and nix that. Listen, ain't going to lie to you guys. It has been a chaotic football season for me in a good way. This has honestly been the busiest season for me. All thanks to you guys. I mean, you guys pushing out the content, sharing all of that stuff, that really has helped the podcast grow and has helped the social media grow. And in doing that, that has led a lot of opportunities for me. So I thank you guys for that. Since the Chiefs aren't a bye, I definitely could use a bye week myself. And listen, later in the month, I'm going to be on vacation. So there is going to be a really weird schedule with the podcast and the Red Friday Q&A live chat. We're just going to have to play it by ear when we get there. It's going to be the week before Thanksgiving. So we're going to kind of go on the fly towards the middle of November. But as far as the rest of the week, if the Chiefs have any, if the Chiefs have any big news in terms of trade news, if they do anything before the trade deadline, we'll do a podcast tomorrow night. If not, then you won't hear from me. We will still be doing video content on YouTube and on social media with reels and whatnot. So still be on the lookout for those. But otherwise, if the Chiefs don't do anything, there will not be another podcast until next Monday. So just be aware of that. I'm Farzin Vasugian. Appreciate you all joining me for this episode of the the Chiefs Zone, not the Red Friday live chat. This episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. If you guys join late, you guys want to recheck out anything you might have missed out on, hey, it'll be available later on Facebook, YouTube, X, Apple, Spotify, anywhere where you can download or listen to a podcast. If you join late, again, we'll be uploading all of these shortly everywhere on the archive version. If you guys enjoyed this, please share it. Let your friends know about the podcast. Let them know about the Chiefs Zone podcast. This is how we grow, and you guys have done a tremendous job of that. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are starting to put out more and more YouTube content out there, content that's more conducive for YouTube than anywhere else. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Once again, I'm Farzin Vasugian. I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.